few things to be aware of when you're using the microscope. The first is that you need to make sure that the stage is clear and that it's clean. So when you are mounting your slide, don't use excessive piston mount or the dappy hard set. That will get on the stage and it actually can gum up. This is the condenser down here, and it won't actually be able to engage, and so then we need to call and get it fixed, and we've had that problem happen several times because too much of the mounting media getting on the stage. The stage is still kind of dirty. So the other thing that was a big issue is that when we go to the 40X is a dry lens. Everything is dry below 40. So 40, 20, 10, 5, 2.5 are all dry objectives. So there should be no oil on these objectives. When I came in maybe last week, there was oil on the 40X. And so this actually is not good because when we try to take the pictures, when there's oil on the lens, the image is very blurry, and so we need to go through a procedure to clean the lens. And that's very frustrating for the next person that's using it. So what we recommend is that if you're going to go to 63, the other thing is you use a very small amount of oil, just 1 drop of oil. You don't need a lot of oil to get kind of the oil column between the lens and the slide. Just 1 drop. And once you go to 63 on a particular specimen, you can't go back to 40. If you go back to 40, you will get oil on the 40X objective. So you need to take all of the images that you want at 40X first, then go to 63 and 100X. And then when you're done, you should wipe the slide off, and you should also clean the 60 and the 100X, or the 63 and the 100X lenses, and remove the oil. You shouldn't leave the oil sit on there. And if you haven't ever used an oil objective, then you should ask me or Bo or Andrew.
Oh yeah, about the oil. Never wipe the lens with a chem wipe. Did he say that?
I haven't said that yet.
Okay, you're going to.
So the other way is when you're cleaning these off, we have this lens cleaner that's everywhere that you can use, and we also have lens paper, which
Here, I'm going to give you these two as process.
okay. So this is what is this? Is this lens paper?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Okay. So do not use this. This is the Chemtech chem wipes. This is not to be used to clean anything on the microscope. It can be used to wipe off your slides, but that's it. Not these should not be used with the microscope at all. This is lens paper here, so you can use and you don't need a whole sheet because this is expensive. You can rip it into a small, like I don't know, a half or in quarters, and use that part to wipe the lens. It's not like a scratching motion. You don't need to use a lot of force. You just need to wipe it off. So it's not. Be very gentle with the lenses. They're very expensive. They cost thousands of dollars, and so if you break it, then everyone will be very angry with you because we use this the most out of everything in the lab.
You shouldn't say so because if you break it, make sure you tell us.
Okay,
if you break it and you tell us, it's
we won't be angry.
We won't be angry.
If you don't say
It won't be your responsibility, but if we find out it's you, but you didn't say it,
then we will be very angry. That's right.
Yeah.
So if you break it, you should come and say that you did something wrong and then it was broken. The other thing is that on the 63 and the 100X, these lenses have adjustments on the lens where you shouldn't change those. So don't move those around unless you know what you're doing, which is probably not very many people. So the other thing is that they will retract in, and so sometimes they can be stuck up all the way. So you should be aware of that when you're using it. I've seen people with the lenses stuck all the way in. They will run the lens all the way down, and that's not how you use it. So you need to be aware that these, on the 63 and the 100, they will actually retract up some. So make sure that they're not stuck up in that retractive state when you're using them. Okay, so this is the machine. So you need to turn the main power source on, and then we actually had the illuminator go out, I guess, in this thing, or the light. So we have a secondary light that you need to turn on the back here. It's really important after you use this to not leave it on overnight. Sometimes people will use the microscope and just think, oh, someone else is going to come in after me and use it. You should always turn the microscope completely off when you're using that.
And log off.
And log off of the computer. And at the end of the day, you should turn the computer off. It shouldn't be running all night.
Because if the computer is on, the camera will be on, and the camera will be left all night if you don't turn off the computer.
Yes, exactly. So this is the Leica software. I think everyone's pretty familiar with that. But you open this, you need to turn the microscope on before you start up the Leica software. If you start the Leica software, then turn the microscope on, you'll get an error. So you need to turn the microscope on first. The microscope is controlled by several settings. We have a touch screen in the front. We have buttons on the side and in the back, and we also can control it with the software. So it's whatever is most comfortable for you. You can kind of play around with it and see, or I can maybe give a more in-depth video later, or explanation. If you don't understand how to use a microscope, you should see me first to get an account, and also kind of to get a more basic or specific understanding of what to do and what not to do.
Cool. I think that's it with the microscope, right?
Yeah. Oh, one last thing about so if you're going to use fluorescence or UV light, you need to let this, you can't just turn this on and turn this off. If you're going to use it, you turn it on, you use it for that period of time, but it should be 30 minutes it should be on, then it should be shut off. So don't just be haphazardly turning this on and off, because it's bad for the life of the bulb. And I think that's pretty much it. The other thing, I guess, is the polarizer should always be left on 90, and if you change the position of the polarizer, you should always change it back to 90 degrees. Another thing too is that you should be aware that this cable, you only need to rotate this about 180 degrees, and the rest of the rotating of the camera can be actually done with the microscope, flipping it 180 or whatever. And sometimes people will just spin this around, and it's bad for the cable, and if the cable breaks, then the camera will stop working. So that is
And
pretty
sometimes the
much it.
camera can come off, so just be careful when you
Yeah.
rotate it.
And if you decide to tape it down, you need to clean up and remove all the tape when you're done.
Yeah.
Just like everything else. Just clean up after yourself.
Yeah.
Since we're here right next to the nano drop, I'll just say a couple of things. Basically, you shouldn't use the nano drop without training. So I'm going to assume that you're going to get more training, but I just want to reiterate that when you're done with the nano drop, see, he just wiped. You want to wipe both the top and the bottom to leave it clean for the next person, because you don't want your solution to dry on there. And then when you're done, you store it down. So right now it's open, it's up, and now it's down. So you would want to store it like this, but clean. And you never want to let it fall down and slam, okay? You want to be really gentle with it. It's a really expensive piece of equipment, and you should have more training than just this before you use it. So I think that'll be good for that.
And so I want to say something quick about the label maker. Sometimes people need to, when the label run out, there's two buttons on each side. You click and open it up, and this actually click and stop it here. And you can change a new row of label. But when you put it down, make sure you press here. I saw people trying to push it down, like force it down. And also sometimes the label could go inside here, get stuck in there.
Yes.
And you want to gently pull it out, or go find me for help. Just don't tamper with it.
And also, there's some trouble when you printed the label. The character is out of the range sometimes.
Sometimes,
To correct.
if it's out of the range sideways,
Mm-hmm.
you open this up and make sure this is in the middle. And this,
I mean, up and down, not
if it's
like it level.
up and down out of the range, you can open it up, realign this so that this edge is right by the edge of this wheel. Then close it and press this button once. It will automatically realign it.
And there's a label we can diffuse, but we have only one. box
We have
here.
more. We order more. It's in the lab. Let me know when it's out. We'll replace it.
Always in the drawer, this drawer.
In the drawer.
Okay, there's a whole video on that machine that you can watch later for your own entertainment. But let's go to culture.